So welcome to the section 3 in the week 4 module 4 of our project management professional training program. In this particular section, we'll be looking at developing the project charter. All right, how do we develop the project charter that we discussed in the previous section? The inputs, the tools and techniques, and the output. Remember, we are still discussing project integration management. All right, so this is a very critical aspect of your project integration management. Okay, so let's dive right into developing the project charter process and explore its inputs, tools and techniques, and then the outputs. Now let's start with the inputs. Developing the project charter inputs. So what are the key components of the project charter input? The first one is project statement of work, SOW, project statement of work. Now the SOW provides a high-level description of the project's objectives and deliverables. All right, the project objective, what the project aims to achieve, and the deliverables, the outcomes. All right, at each phase or each milestone of the project. That's what we call deliverables, what the project produces at each section or each phase. The project statement of work serves as a starting point for developing the project charter. So before you develop your project charter, you need to have a statement of work. All right, what are we trying to do? Okay, so that will help us in developing this document. That's why it's part of the input. So next we'll have the business case. The business case justifies the project by outlining its potential benefits, costs and risks. Right, so here we have the benefit. What is the benefit of this particular project? So that's talking about the case. You have to first of all make a case for your project. All right, outlining its benefits. Okay, and then of course the costs and the risk, and then you know that the benefit has to outweigh the cost and the risk for it to be viable. All right, and it also helps in assessing the project's alignment with the organization's strategic goal. Okay, of course this is the biggest or one of the biggest benefits you should be looking at. How does the project align with the organization's strategic goals? Okay, and how does it help or advance the organization's strategic goal? So this is all about the business case and is an input in developing the project charter. So we also have agreements. All right, agreements. In every project you need to have consensus agreements. Okay, agreements with external parties can impact project objectives and are considered as inputs. Okay, so of course you must know what agreement you're having with who. All right, and these are also part of the inputs. These agreements may include contracts, memoranda of understanding, or partnership agreements. If you're having partnerships with individuals or with organizations, whether public or private. Okay, so these all come in as inputs in developing the project charter. Okay, because these people that you're having these agreements with, this contract with, this MOU with, they are going to definitely be part of the stakeholders in the project. Next on the input is the enterprise environmental factors. Enterprise environmental factors encompass internal and external factors that influence project success. Okay, so this is very important. What are those factors that are likely to influence the success of the project? We call them enterprise environmental factors, and they include organizational culture, marketplace conditions, and industry standards. So it's important to take notice of these factors because they definitely will impact your project. Next is organizational process assets, or OPAs. OPAs include processes, procedures, templates, and historical information from previous projects. Okay, so these also come in as inputs. Okay, they come in as inputs. The processes from the previous projects, the procedures, the templates you use, and any historical information, all the things that were done in previous projects, they could serve as a very important reference, all right, that can help you perform better and achieve better results in your current project. Relevant OPAs can provide valuable guidance for charter development. Okay, we've had projects in the past and that have been done in certain ways that was good, all right. So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, it is always better to visit those information, all right, and get insights from them that can help you in developing your project charter. Okay, so let's look at the tools and techniques that are involved in developing the project charter. First is expert judgment. So like you already know, as a project manager, you have those we call subject matter experts working with you in your project team. Now, expert judgment refers to expertise from individuals or groups with experience in project charter development. Of course, you have these people in your team which we call subject matter experts. All right, so when it comes to project charter development, you have them working with you and you want to get their opinions, all right, about the things that should be included or not included in the project charter. So that's what we call the expert judgment. All right, experts can also provide insight into project objectives and stakeholders' needs. Okay, so like as a project manager, of course, you're not the one coming up with all the ideas. You're not the one doing everything by yourself. All right, so you're going to also have to listen to opinions and suggestions, all right, from other experts who have knowledge or expertise in what you're doing as well. So the next is facilitation techniques. All right, facilitation techniques is another technique that we use in developing the project charter. And here you have facilitated workshops or meetings with key stakeholders. All right, so of course, for you to get information, those information that we listed out, the business case and the alignment of the project goals with the organizational objectives and all that, you're going to have to have a lot of meetings with the stakeholders, all right, to be able to get their inputs. These sessions help to gather inputs, build consensus, and create a shared vision for the project. So facilitation technique is important in developing the project charter. All right, so let's look at the outputs in developing the project charter. Of course, the first thing you have there in the output is the project charter itself. The project charter is the primary output of the developing the project charter process. All right. It formally authorizes the project, names the project manager, and describes high-level project objectives. So next is the assumption log. the assumption log. An assumption log documents assumptions made during the charter development. Alright, so while you were developing the charter, you must have made some assumptions like we discussed earlier. So you should have a log where you document those assumptions. These assumptions can affect project planning and risk management. So that's why it's important to have them listed. Next is constraints. Constraints. A constraint such as budget, schedule, or resource limitations are documented in the charter. So while developing your charter, you have to outline the constraints, all right, that can actually impede your project's progress. All right, those constraints include your budget, the schedule, which is time allocation, the resource limitations. All right, so all these are constraints which you have to deal with. So it's important that you also outline them in the project charter. And they also provide context for project execution. So while you are executing your project, the constraints also provide the context for you, so you know exactly what you're dealing with and how to go about them. So what are the key takeaways? What are the key takeaways from this section? Firstly, developing the project charter involves gathering key information and stakeholders' input. So that's very, very important. The first thing you want to do in developing a project charter is to gather key information, all right, and get input from your stakeholder. This will go a long way in shaping and forming the project expectations as well as the deliverables. It results in a formal document that authorizes the project and outlines its high-level objectives, constraints, and assumptions. Okay, so the project charter is a very, very important document that you have to work with as a project manager. So it's important you know how to go about developing it and how to use it. All right, so that's it on this particular session. Hope you've gotten value. I'll see you in the next session. Cheers.